You asked for it. Here it is. Toxic family members. Let's get into it. Hello everyone.
Hi guys.
Welcome to yet another segment of Relationship Detox with Sam and Olga. First of all, before I say anything, I want to just express a big thank you to those of you who subscribe to us and watch our channels and make comments and all that stuff. It's very, very helpful to us, and like as well. So yeah, please keep it going, keep it coming. We enjoy the love that we receive from you guys.
Yes.
So yeah, that is a big plus for us. If you're new for the first time watching us, and you don't know what this whole relationship detox thing is all about, it is simply just purging out the toxins in your relationship. What do I mean by that? Just basically the practices, the things that we do, we bring into relationship, things that we know when we do it's not helping anyone, but we do it anyways. That is what we are here to share our experiences and others, and also throw some lights on some of these things, so as not to bring some of these things in our relationship to again make our relationship blossom.
Exactly. Well said. So anything that doesn't make your relationship happy, or that doesn't make you happy, just like detox that shit out.
Just detox it.
That's basically what it is. So before we get into this episode or this video, which is toxic family members, which was chosen by you guys, thank you so much for that. But before we get into that, I want to say a big shout out to our very, very good friends and fellow YouTubers, the Charways. Thank you so much for shouting us out in one of your last videos. We really appreciated that. And of course, everybody who is interested in African culture.
Yes.
Everybody that's interested in lifestyle.
Yes.
And also anyone who's interested in laughing a lot, you need to subscribe to their channel. Please do. I put a link to their channel below in our description. Please make sure you click on that and subscribe. They are very great and doing really good things. Congratulations, you guys. What you're doing is
big
awesome.
ups.
Yeah. So without much further ado, we're going to be talking about toxic family members. Since it's a very controversial and broad topic, we decided to make it into two parts.
Exactly.
The first part, we're going to be talking about some of the toxic behavioral traits to look out for, to even identify if you have any toxic family members in your family, because sometimes you have them and you don't even realize it, and you find yourself feeling exhausted and uneasy around them, and sometimes it's hard to pinpoint where that's coming from. So it could be helpful to know what to look out for. And then in the second part, we're going to be talking about some of the possible reasons why a person could be acting this way, or displaying some of those behaviors. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing. But before that, again, I just want to say that it is a very sensitive topic. It's very controversial because your family is supposed to be the last and one and only safe haven for you, or for anyone to go to if the rest of the world has basically shut you down. And why it's so painful is that you go to your family at your most vulnerable state and you get shut down on top of that. It happens a lot, where the family is rather the people you have to be the most careful and the most guarded with or around, when it's supposed to be the other way, right? So that is why it's very painful to have toxic family members, and that's why we want to talk about it. And I guess the reason why that topic was picked is because it happens way more often than we would like to believe, right?
So I just, before we get into the topic or into discussion, I just want to say, obviously, I mean, this is not for every family, you know.
Of course,
there are some great.
Sorry, guys, planes again. Let's just wait it out.
Just give us some seconds.
Every 5 minutes.
Hey, that's Frankfurt, man. So yeah, guys, sorry for that. Yeah, what I was saying is obviously it's not for every family,
It doesn't apply to
it doesn't
everyone.
apply to every family, people.
Yeah.
So it's just for we kind of realized or noticed that a lot of these problems persist in a lot of family,
including in ours.
Yeah.
But that is not to say that every toxic family member is evil or wants
no,
harm
not
you.
at all.
No.
Yeah. So to at least I would like to say a big shout out to all the family members or any family, how do you say?
Any families that are
yes.
tight knit and and support each
and
other
support
and
each
love
other,
each other,
do
no
all
matter
the
what.
wonderful and the great things, unconditional support and love that you show.
Yeah.
Big ups. Shout out to you all.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that and continue to do
and
that.
Anyone with the family they can actually count on, no matter what, count your blessings.
Yes, because I also know of family members that are doing that, exactly that. So yeah, shout out and big ups and thank you for that. Awesome job.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can.
All right, so let's just get into the first behavior to look out for. Okay, which is
the first point is actually exclusion.
Exclusion. That is when one or more family members exclude another one from matters that have to do with the family. That is toxic behavior in terms of you as the receiver, in terms of like you as the one being excluded from what's happening. Of course, you're not going to react well to that, especially if you don't know why you are being excluded, and that is definitely some toxicity there that is very unnecessary most of the time. And the reason why that sometimes happens is our next point, which is actually jealousy or envy. If somebody is jealous of a sibling, for example, then it's very likely that they're going to be excluding them from different family, I don't know, occasions or anything like that, right? So that is also a big problem, and a big toxic type of behavior is jealousy and envy. That is, I mean, that is like that in general. But one of the 7, what do you call them? Deadly sins is envy. And it's even more so deadly or toxic when it comes from a family member. Exactly.
And the next point is two-faced / gossip.
Someone who's two-faced, meaning when you come around them, they embrace you with open arms. And they act like they care. But as soon as you turn around and get your ass out of that
it's like
house,
you into pieces.
Yes, they're bashing you. They're talking crap about you. Maybe spreading lies about you, which we've had that happen in our extended family years back, where one member was talking trash about other family members. I'm not going to get into detail here, and it was just simply, I think also it was because of prejudice. So we have jealousy, we have envy, and also prejudice. And it could be true of us. If one of my family members, for example, had prejudice against black people, and would talk nonsense behind our backs because of that, I mean, that is also very toxic behavior. In my case, that wasn't the case, or in my family, that wasn't the case, but that is definitely toxic.
and vice versa too. I mean,
so basically they embrace, if they would embrace you, but then turn around and talk to their friends and other family members, like and basically just bashing you, trashing you, and all that kind of stuff. Like that is very toxic.
Very toxic. Because it happens. I mean,
you will
it
get
happens,
to find out eventually. Everyone that I know that has happened to was able to tell me about it because they found out eventually that is a crap that's been talked about them. So and that is how to identify that behavior right there.
So the next toxic point is lying or exaggerating.
That one is kind of self-explanatory. I mean,
lie is lie.
Lies are lies, and especially if they're obvious lies, and it just keeps happening over and over and over again. I mean, there's not much that we can say to
Yeah.
to prove our point that that is
Yeah.
very toxic.
Yeah.
Again, in any relationship,
Yeah,
in any constellation of people, right? It's very toxic
Yeah.
when it's built on lies. But
Yeah.
if it's within a family,
It's even.
it's devastating.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
very
the word.
devastating.
Yeah. So stop lying.
Yeah.
Stop lying, guys. Yeah. The next toxic point is over exaggerated drama.
Over exaggerated drama. What we mean by that, let me
Yeah.
see. An example would be, let's say a husband doesn't like the wife going out
Yeah.
by herself.
Mhm.
And then she ends up doing so, but she only went out with like a girlfriend
Yeah.
or something like that, just for coffee. And then comes home and tells the husband about it. But the husband is so upset. So he's upset with her for going out for coffee
In the first
as
place.
if she went and robbed a bank, or
Yes.
as if she went and killed someone, or as
Yeah.
if she went and dragged his name through the mud.
So basically,
Yeah.
the reaction
The reaction,
Action is
the intensity of
yeah.
the reaction
over
doesn't
justify,
justify
Yeah.
what that person
Yeah.
did. Yes,
Yeah.
that is also very toxic, because you, as the receiver of that
Yeah.
treatment, you feel like you always have to walk walk on tippy toes around
yeah. Mm-hmm.
that particular family member, right? And that is not a good recipe for a good relationship. So
Yeah. So yeah, the next toxic point is looking out for faults in others. Yeah.
yes, if you are, or a
Yeah.
person that is always looking
This
out
always
for
happens. Yeah.
what's wrong with everyone else.
It's never you.
Yeah. Again, that falls into our next point,
Yeah.
which is blaming everyone else but themselves.
Yeah.
So you know that every time you go to that person, you're not going to receive any sort of praise. You're
No.
not going to receive any acknowledgement or recognition for any good thing that you have done. All that this person is getting after is what you did wrong.
Yeah.
Okay? That is so toxic to be around people
Yeah,
like that. It is
exactly.
unbelievable
Yeah.
what that does to your psyche and to your emotional well-being. So you have to be careful around people like that, especially when it's family members, because they tend to be around you more often than one might
Yeah.
like. So
Exactly. Well said. Next point, self-praise.
yes, self-praise. Yeah, that kind of goes
Yeah.
with what I just said.
Yeah.
I've known of relationships that have fallen apart, like
Yeah.
marriages that have fallen apart, and one of the reasons that I get given a lot was because it's either the husband or the wife or the ex was always praising themselves. They could not talk about anything other
Yep.
than themselves, even if they did something bad or something wrong.
Yep.
They still find a way to twist it to make themselves look like the good guy.
Exactly.
Okay, and that is also toxic behavior, because they're blind and delusional to reality.
Well, that's
Right.
That's exactly what I wanted to say. I mean, the fact that all these points that we are, discussing, it's toxic in itself. That makes it this whole thing even delusional to
Right.
say the least.
Yeah.
Because I mean, what could there be? Like if every time your family member had to downplay you or belittle you or always, you're delusional.
Yeah.
Like seriously, you are.
Not you as a receiver, but you as
Not you as a
the-
receiver. Yeah, I mean the person doing all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
All the time. Nothing that you do actually,
is worth
it's
any
worth
acknowledgement or anything.
nothing.
Yeah.
But you
Anything
know what
positive,
you're
yeah.
doing. Others are receiving good, what do you call it? They are getting a good positive vibe from you. People are receiving good stuff from you, except when it comes to your family members.
Yeah.
Some members of in your family.
Yeah.
So it is delusional. The whole thing is delusional to even
Right.
start with.
Right.
Yeah, you can carry on.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, let's just go
All
on
right.
to the next
next point, being constantly critical
Yeah.
or judgmental.
Or
Yeah.
judgmental, yes. We also have we both have family members that
Yeah.
fall into that category,
Yeah.
that are just like what he said, constantly critical of everything you do or everything you don't do, and judgmental to
again. It's the same. It's, you know, the blaming game. You did this. And what even pisses me off is the fact that they can go as way back as to something you did probably 20 years ago or 10 years ago, and you're still using that. So every mistake that you do in real time at present, they will go back to what you did 10 years. But guess what? They never ever offer any solution, any real problem solving help or support,
right?
Except to talk about what you
did wrong,
and constantly hammer home.
Yeah, it's true. Very dangerous.
It's crazy. Yeah,
very dangerous.
That is real
like that.
toxic. Yeah. Now, our next point is being fake. Oh, I love this. Or pretending.
Yes, that's the worst. That's kind of like being
Two-faced. Oh man. Yes.
Yeah, because I mean, for example, if this is just hypothetical. Yeah. If he knew that my parents were not happy about him for something that he did, but instead of talking about it and letting it out, they are pretending that everything is fine. But he knows that they are actually not fine with him, but they're always pretending that everything is great. So basically faking their affection for him. But he knows deep down inside how they really feel about him. And that is toxic behavior because it messes with his mind. Right? And again, this is just hypothetical, right? Just to give you guys an example of what we're talking about. Because if I know that this is how you feel about my choices, but you are treating me as if you are always supportive, that is very like it messes with your head. It would mess with my mind all the time, because then also I won't be sure. So how do you really feel? And it's not fair to me to keep me guessing, because then I also don't know where I'm at with you, right? So
I, for one, I always prefer defined stuff than refined, So if you don't like me, I would like you to say it to my face that I don't like you, so that when I'm around you, I know exactly what I will be expecting or how I should behave around you. Than you pretend and act like you do, but inwardly you are just waiting to slaughter me.
Or wait,
so that is the part that she says it would mess with my mind.
It would mess with your head,
because really I'm always approaching you,
and because it also robs you of the opportunity to confront them. Because whatever's happening, it's in your head, and you know it, but you don't actually really have proof of it, so you can't also confront them, so you can't also take that and let it go. So it stays with you in your mind, and you're like, because actions speaks louder than words, as cliche as it may sound, but it's true. You are around these people, their actions are telling you something different from what they are saying. So it could be or what happened to me or to us. Again, I don't want to get into detail, but we have this acquaintance that was acting a certain way around us, which was great, and we assumed that this is where our relationship's at, this is the level. But then I heard from another family member what this person has been saying and is really thinking about us behind. So now whenever we would be confronted with that person, or whenever we were in the same room with a person, I wasn't sure how to behave anymore, because they're, again, just everything on their end is normal, but I know, that's not how they really feel about us. So to me, it's just strange, because you don't know how to behave with that person anymore, right? Anyway, what's the next point?
Being too worried.
Yes, this is for all the parents out there, and this is one of those behavioral patterns that is toxic, but not with bad or evil intentions. Okay. If a parent is too worried, they like to paint a picture of the worst case scenario in their heads. And what a lot of parents do, they start acting on those assumptions.
That actually is our
Next point. Yes,
last
acting
point.
on assumptions. Sorry, some of them they kind of
intertwine.
intertwine and go hand in hand. They act on those assumptions, and that is really, really bad on both parts. Because if my mom were to treat me like I'm some hussy that is sleeping around and drinking and partying all the time, and I'm not actually doing that, that is not fair to me, right? So in turn, I'm also going to treat her in a way that is very hostile, and I'm going to be very defensive. And her, in her head, she's just worried about me, so she also doesn't deserve that treatment from me. So we would both be clashing all the time, all the time. So being worried too much and then acting on assumptions of a worst case scenario is very, very toxic, because it could break a relationship. It could break trust, because for me, I could be thinking, what do you think of me to believe that I'm capable of being a hussy, or I'm capable of just drinking myself to whatever point where I can't even remember anything? What makes you think, like, what must you think of me to assume that I'll be capable of doing that? So I will also look at her differently now, and that could seriously break a relationship. So again, that did not happen with me and my mom. Again, this was just an example, hypothetically.
But I just want to also say, but even if you assume that this is what the person is doing, instead of just jumping into conclusion and you know, saying things that you might regret later, why not, you know, communicate? Call this person, hey, this is what I've been thinking, or this is what it seems like to me that you are doing, or you know, you said or you did. Simple communication. But they ignore that part and right away play that movie of assumption in their head, and then jump into it right away. They get into character and then start acting. It's true, which is sad.
That brings me to another toxic point, which we haven't actually written down, but distrust. Yes, if you do not have trust within a family, whether it is siblings or parent, kids, or you know, anything within a family, if there's no trust, sometimes it's even worse than there not being trust between spouses, right? Because this is your family.
This is your family,
right? These are your roots. This is where you come from. Your family is the first ones to shape you into who you are. Either way, whether you end up adopting pretty much everything from the time you were raised, or you do the exact opposite of what they did, from, you know, of how they raised you. Either way, it's because of how you were raised. So you either stick with it or you go the exact opposite of that. But still, it is what shapes you, right? And even if you have not a great relationship with some or all of your family members, deep down inside you still know that this is where you're from. This is your roots. This is really what started the evolution of you as a person. And if that is toxic, the way it will just affect your well-being,
everything in life,
psychological, emotional.
That is what I wanted to even chip in.
Every part of you, it's going to be affected by that. And if I think about some of the friends that I have met, or people that I have met, that have very unstable lives, it goes all the way back to their family, their childhood, how they were as children, and the things that were happening in their family, right? So that is why it is so important to have a supportive family, no matter what. And if you don't have that, I mean, it's one of the greatest losses I can imagine, right?
Like, you know, guys, this toxic family members topic we're discussing here today is so important. Why is it so important? Because we have experienced some of these things, some of these toxic points that we just elaborated. We are still experiencing some.
Right.
I know of a lot of friends acquaintances that I personally know that are still experiencing some of these things. So when you look across the vast majority of families, in this world that we live in, it's the majority that are experiencing this negative stuff.
Yes.
That is why he mentioned this point. That when somebody does something heinous, commits, crime, something brutal, the psychologist always wants to go back
And check
for
your
them
childhood.
Thank you. For them to be able to fully understand why you even first of all did that.
Yeah.
They have to.
What means you're capable of doing something like this?
They have to go way back to your childhood
Yeah.
to see how you were raised, how you were shaped, what influenced you and what didn't, and what there were some irregularities that might have caused all these things, all this psychological stuff.
Right. The thing is,
so it is very, very important.
We're not even talking about abuse, like physical or mental or whatever abuse. We're not even talking about that. That could be a whole topic all in itself. But we are not psychologists or experts on this, so we're just gonna talk
just
about
a disclaimer.
We're just gonna keep it in
we're just saying toxic or toxicity in families is very, very dangerous.
It is,
It's very, very dangerous because you see, we tend to act tough and try to kind of like close that
like we try not to
that
be
chapter
bothered by some of
and not
these
be bothered
things.
but it looks like it never goes away if it's not
Completely.
dealt with. It never goes away. So you are an adult living your life, you're independent, you are having your own family, and then you realize that some of these things that was being done to you whilst you were a child, now you see yourself acting the same way. Now you are dishing out to someone else,
right, to your kids,
and then this is where it starts to affect you.
It could even be even if you don't have your own family, right? I mean, some of the things even we talked about this just a couple of days ago when some of the things that were holding you back, you realized the reason for it goes way back. When you were disappointed by a very close family member, and that disappointment has carried until today. Even though you have no contact with this family member, even though it's so many years ago, it is still affecting you today.
I still talk about it to today. So exactly, this is what we're saying. The fact that I can still talk about it, that means I'm still dealing with it.
Right.
I'm still dealing with it. And this is when I was a kid. When I was a kid. So it compounds, and it something small becomes larger. So it's very, very important for us to
basically, if you are raised in a toxic environment, you yourself become toxic, and you carry that on. It's like a cancer that spreads. And I'm thinking, why can't we rather spread good things? Why is it always the bad stuff that gets passed on from generation to generation? More so than anything else. So that needs to stop. That needs to stop. Because honestly, if you raise a child in a toxic environment, you are basically nurturing the next psychopath killer or something. Because if you look at a lot of these high profile criminals and serial killers, if you really look back, they are normal people, but something in their head is just messed up, and sometimes it's messed up by the smallest little thing.
The love, support, unconditional love, whatever it may be,
something that has been missing. And it's really, really important. So the way we raise our children
it's
makes
vital,
a big difference. And in our next video, which is a topic that I'm particularly passionate about, something that might seem as being responsible and looking out for the future and having your children's best interest at heart is actually very, very toxic. So sometimes too much love per se can turn into toxic behavior, and we're going to talk about this in the next video, when we're going to dive into some of the reasons, again, why people behave the way they do.
So guys, thanks a lot. Stay tuned for part 2 of this same topic.
Okay, ciao.